this morning. It's never been heard of before, never has this ever happened before. There's been so many reactions. If you know anything about crypto and online stock exchange and all of these things, you would understand what this means for that market. So maybe that's some good news for some of our brothers who might be investing in crypto. Ede. He is a barrister. He is, of course, the contact and mobilization chairperson and for the subcommittee of the MBA Enugu chapter. He was here on Monday where we had a very elaborate and interesting conversation about the legal system in Nigeria, its participation in the experience we are having as a collective, as a nation. And of course, he is here again so that we can furthermore elaborate on other topics that concern the nation, especially the presence of rule of law in Nigeria, what it has become in present times, and what it had already was turning into at a certain point, and where we lost it all completely, and what it used to be if we ever even had a standard for the appreciation of the rule of law in Nigeria as a nation. So I don't know what it used to be when we had it good, but we will hear from the horse's mouth what it has become now and what can happen to get us back to the adherence of the rule of law in Nigeria. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You do not like to be addressed as barrister, and you gave your reasons. But for the sake of people who have not heard of you before, let's get an introduction from you about yourself. Just a tiny brief. I just feel like I should do this because the last time you were here, a lot of people asked for you. So I just want a small introduction from you, and then you can tell our guests, our listeners, why you do not be referred to as a barrister.
Yes, my name is simply Mr. Ede. I'm a legal practitioner based in Enugu here, a member of the NBA of Enugu branch extraction. I was a financial secretary of the branch.
Okay.
I am currently serving as a member of the 2024 Law Week Committee of Enugu branch.
Okay.
I was a member of the LOC that organized the just concluded next meeting of the National MBA that held at Nike Lake Resort Hotel. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am serving in various committees. I am the secretary of the Forum for Bar and Bench Relationship.
Mm-hmm. Bar and bench relationship. Okay, so why don't you like to be referred to as a barrister? I know that you're quite accomplished from everything that you've told us now, and from what I've experienced from you, you're quite an accomplished legal practitioner. I'm wondering why, because I know that some people take offense when you do not add the prestigious barrister to addressing most people in your profession. So you seem to take an exception. Why?
Well, just like you said, it seemed prestigious. But a wrong thing cannot be prestigious.
How do you mean wrong?
It is wrong to be addressed as barrister who so. The right thing is Oyekachide, barrister at law.
Oh, so it has to be barrister at law.
Barrister at law.
Okay.
Not a prefix or suffix of barrister this or Oyekachide barrister or barrister Oyekachide. Is Oyekachide barrister at law.
Okay.
That is quite simple, because I also know that they also refer to people who serve coffees at certain cafes as baristas.
That is it.
So, growing up, it was difficult for me to put that together. Okay, so thank you for clearing that up for me this morning. Thank you so much for coming. You know, I told you that we were going to touch some of the tax relationship, especially in Enugu. But before we get into that, I would just want us to quickly run through the headlines just for information's sake for our listeners, because we always keep us updated on this program. You can join us live on YouTube by also subscribing to our YouTube channel. It's High Voltage News. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, have a good time while you're there. There's all kinds of breaking news, all information that you need to know when it concerns politics in Nigeria and, of course, outside of here. So please be my guest this morning. You can also call live into the studio by calling our studio lines or texting us or sending us a WhatsApp message. All right? In case you cannot speak where you are this morning. The phone lines that you would call are 0706 048 You can also call 0915 570-8347. Now, let's move straight to the Daily Post this morning. And let me tell you that fuel imports have hit 2.3 billion. Okay, so that's 2.3 billion liters despite Dangote and the Port Harcourt refineries being in full function, according to information at our disposal. But why in the world have imports increased to 2.3 billion from what we originally had, which was running in 1 point? We have Dangote refinery churning out too many barrels of petroleum, apparently, according to them. And of course, the Port Harcourt refinery is also said to be churning out 6 trucks of petroleum every day. I thought with these combined efforts that this story of importation of petroleum into this country would have taken a natural pass. But apparently, Nigeria's problems never seem to end. It's a never-ending circle. So you don't see it. It turns out this whole petroleum conundrum, it's not going to end. There is always going to be something that's going to come out. But at the end of the day, it doesn't concern the people in any positive way. And that's why it seems Nigerians grow tired or grow weary of problems. You follow this story from the Dangote refinery crying about not being sold crude to being sold crude, but they are being sold crude in dollars, and then it's reversed. They are being sold crude in naira. There is always something happening. And all of these things that are happening does not concern Nigeria favorably in any way. And that's a sad thing. It's really sad. Well, let's move on. Tinubu's Nigeria's Messiah and will be praised by everyone, says Reps member Abejide. Right, moving on. I don't know how they got Tinubu as shield of the NNPC's rot, says Yabagi Sani. All right. Senate summons aviation minister, NCAA, and airlines over poor flight operations. That is Keyamo. He's on the front burner this morning. El Rufai's son clears air on EFCC raiding of his Kaduna residence. All right, some clergy members and most statesmen have advised the EFCC to pursue state members, high members of society instead of in court, Yahoo boys. I don't know if it's generally a very good idea, but I think yes, the first one stands. But yeah, the other group also needs to be checked. I don't know if they're leaving that other side, but okay. So I am of the opinion that none of these terrible behaviors should be left to stand anyways. No part of corruption is okay. No part of bad behavior should be accepted. Every of them is bad. So I like that these high members of society are being looked into, and it's not just raiding hotels and barging into people's homes and harassing them, which is something that we see. And of course, it's also in connection with the rule of law that we are going to also discuss in detail this morning. Smuggling scandal, the police deny allegations against the IGP. All right, there's been an allegation against the IGP about smuggle stories and him being involved in aiding them and being involved in receiving whatever proceeds are coming out from those. And the police department itself has written a denial to this allegation against its general, their controller. You want more of this information, you can also find it on High Voltage News on YouTube. You can also find this on other news outlets in the country, wherever your preference. All right. Okay. Is there anything better? OT knocks PDP for establishing shadow government in Abia State. I guess that's called politics. All right, that's called politics. They said it is all fair in this game that's been played. Okay, let's see what we can find on the Punch News this morning. Tax reform, Senate suspends debate and panel meets AGF today. So apparently this tax bill might not necessarily see the light of day, but we move on. FG fires Togo and Benin Republic degree holders from MDAs. All right, let's take that again. Federal government fires Togo and Benin Republic degree holders from MDAs. So there's a lot of unemployment happening on the high levels this period. There's a lot of letting people go, what you call premature retirement of over 1,000 people at the CBN, especially at the north. There's been a lot of retiring of top officials of agencies in this country in the past 2 months. Heavy retirements, early retirements for most directors and agency heads. And now they're targeting those of them who do not have, in quote, certified degrees. Okay, I don't know what that means, but some people will argue that it will create more employment as those people are leaving. I don't know if it makes sense, but other people also argue that these people who are being retired forcefully, in most cases, are people who have perpetrated some of the terrible things that have happened in their agencies over time. Do you agree, sir?
It's hard to agree.
It's hard to agree.
It's hard to
What do you
agree.
think?
What's the template?
What's the template?
How did they determine that?
Okay. The people who are asked to retire
Those who
early.
are responsible for rats eating doors, for snakes swallowing money,
Oh dear.
what has happened to them?
That's what they're saying. These were the people who were probably present when these incidents occurred.
They were the people that sent rats
Well,
to eat President Buhari's office,
but
that made him
someone-
not to enter his office after his medical trip.
but someone was there.
Was there a rat?
I don't know. Like it's saying a rat did my program yesterday. I have to know about it. I have to know about it. So if a rat represented me here yesterday, I probably sent the rat to do the job. So I don't know.
In Nigeria, there's always claimed justification for any action, rightly or wrongly.
Oh my goodness. Okay, on this note, we will just dive into it. Let's go. Okay, so tell me, why is that so? Why can't things follow due process here?
Well, because wrongs are not being punished.
Okay.
In fact, wrongs now have become the rule rather than the exception.
Okay. I think I get that.
The politicians are making people feel terrible because even their normal take home
Okay.
can pay the entire local government in the country.
I agree.
Yesterday, Professor Joy Ezilo, who is the chairperson of the MBA Enugu branch Law Week 2024,
Mm.
was asking all the money that is being looted.
Mm.
And when I say looting now, if you see the budget of INEC, which you know the budget of INEC, if you share the budget of INEC to each and every Nigerian, including the madman on the street,
Mm.
then there will be no poor person in Nigeria.
Oh yes, we did that math in 2023.
Because it's a total waste.
33 billion.
Total waste. This money go into their private pockets. And somebody is telling me that those they chose to fire are the people responsible for the rot. No, the people responsible for the rot are people firing others and calling them people responsible for the rot.
Hmm. So that would mean that most Nigerians are innocent of these things that are happening, because I am assuming that for the high and mighty to be able to perform certain things, though it might be their decision to make, but there are other people who are mobilized to carry out their own thoughts and actions.
Yes,
Yes.
but that is true.
Oh,
Just
yes.
like the tax reform bill that the Senate has just suspended.
Mm.
What's the reason for suspending it? Because the North is not accepting it.
Oh, they are kicking against it with everything they
It
have.
is the North that have insisted that beavers will not work. It is the North that have insisted that results cannot be transmitted from polling stations.
Really?
During the Jonathan era, or even before then, when we had the conference, the entire North walked out because it was the electronic voting was being discussed. They said
They
don't want
walked
it.
out.
Why are they kicking against this tax reform bill? Because they have been eating from other people's pot.
But I'm sorry. This is me just being curious, right? If the North is in quote developed, if the North begins to become investable, things begin to happen in the North, wouldn't they stand to gain more than to just let things be the way they are and just accept the national budget?
No, they will not want the North to develop.
Why is that?
Because they will cease to have their slaves. They are called Almajiri.
So this
One
is
of the
only
sins Jonathan
mental.
committed against them is building Almajiri schools to inform those ones.
You see. You see. I think I understand what you're saying. I think I understand what you're saying.
Yes,
So
because
we
they
are
always
under.
want, when they cook with big pots, they come and sit on the floor and are served every day. They enjoy it. Alhaji, Alhaji, Alhaji. What nonsense. That is why
And
they
this.
won't even allow them to know what is even in the Quran.
Really?
Because they can't read it because they didn't go to school. So when
I
Jonathan
thought.
wanted to open their eyes, open Almajiri schools so that they can learn how to read and write, read the Quran, and understand what is in it, it was a big sin, a heinous one.
I see.
So they don't want the North to develop.
So it's easier to say we are very poor in the North. We don't have schools, we have out of school children. It's easier to say that.
They use it as a blackmail.
Because we have seen Senator Sani, that's Shehu Sani. Yes, I remember during his very participatory moments as senator, he was he made headlines because he bought some stereo radios. I don't know if you know the ones we call the Walkman radios. Yes, he bought those and some shovels and some trowels, a bunch of funny things. And those were the things he empowered his people with. Uh, we have seen weird things in the North where governors are promising mass weddings, and promising it's weird things when it comes to the North.
Marrying is an achievement in the North.
Why? And I'm talking kids now, minus the religiously acclaimed early marriage. But I'm thinking, does it have anything to do with the fact that during elections we see underage northerners voting as adults in Nigeria. We have seen cases where voters are found and, voters' cards are found on them. And those who are bearing the voters' cards are not in connection. They have no business bearing those voters' cards because they are underage kids. They have no business voting. And we have seen this particular move inflate the number of voters coming out from the north.
No, of course, but that is true. And
So-
that is true. That is why they do everything humanly possible to fight anything electronic.
Wow, this is very, very revealing. So what is the solution to this ideology of the North? How can we come together as a nation? Because apparently this is a big problem. Most people agree with the tax reform bill, and now they are disagreeing, so that's a problem. It's not working out. So apparently they have disagreed with so many other policies that are probably being made.
That's actually why I say that the government get it wrong when they want to churn out policies.
Okay.
They don't engage the people for people to have, a discourse on it. Of course, those who will be negatively affected in terms of they will not get what they used to get, like the North, because the main issue is the VAT. You do not drink beer. You destroy trucks of beer, but you take money from VAT from beer. That's pure hypocrisy.
Consumed by
Yes.
other states, yes.
That's hypocrisy.
And you insist on it.
Of course. That's the problem. The new tax reform bill seeks to give up to 90% derivation to the states and local government. Meaning that if a state in the north have been getting maybe 1 billion from VAT,
Yes.
it will nosedive to maybe 1 million. And he can't imagine how he will lose such money.
That's a lot of money, though.
Free
That
gifts.
is a lot of money.
Free gifts that they have been getting without contributing anything to the national. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
The North could be so much more.
Of course,
So
they
much.
mine their gold,
So much more.
but down south, the oil is a national cake.
Yeah, the gold in Zamfara and some other states in the north, it's not national property.
That is it.
Yes, it's not.
They mine
It's
their
not
gold.
national property, that one. It's not been declared as national property. It's these things are weird. But let's bring it down to Enugu here. Do you consider Enugu to be overtaxed at the moment?
There's no gain saying that Enugu is overtaxed. But the truth is that it didn't start with this administration. Only that this administration picked up the law
Okay.
and are implementing various sections that were never implemented before. Of course, yes, they have some increases, but every head of tax is in the law that was made years before now.
All right. One moment before we continue. We this office we had we usually we're quite a tight knit. So we had lunch here sometime earlier this week, and we got the things from one of the shops here in Enugu, and it turned out that certain commodities like the soda, that's the carbonated drinks, and certain other products had their VAT made differently, and we realized that this is for the state. It's not the general VAT anymore. And we have noticed these increases in so many other commodities and purchases around town. Now, the people in the markets as well have complained heavily that it's pressing down on them. We've also heard from the road users and road transporters there's an increase in how much more they have to pay in a day. Moving on. Now, you are saying that this is not outside the law in any way.
No, it's not outside the law.
Okay.
But the law, is it good? No.
Okay.
But then, who is challenging it?
Can the government do without implementing all of these taxes?
The government can do without implementing all of them because, yes, the present governor is working,
Mhm.
trying to develop the
Oh,
state.
very obviously.
But people have to live to enjoy the infrastructure.
I am of that opinion as well.
That's the point.
I am of that opinion as well, because, you know, because of the economic condition of the country, we have expected that our governors will act in accordance, you know, with that recognition, with that at the back of
Yes.
their minds, that the people are struggling at this time. But we have not seen the eastern governors precisely actually do anything in that respect. I personally expected to see a subsidization of transportation from His Excellency, that is the Enugu State Governor. I expected to see a certain break given to civil workers in Enugu. I wanted to see some reflection on the consciousness of the economic condition, reflect on the people from his government. Rather, the infrastructural work is going fantastic. The development, the growth, the work rate is really, really good. But just like you mentioned, a hungry people, what use is infrastructure to them? Because if you come out in Enugu by past 9 o'clock, you realize that nightlife has been limited to only a certain level or
Yes.
standard of people. So
Yes.
I'm saying, is it going to become like a classist state at some point after all of the infrastructure is done?
Well, I must say that the decrease
Mm.
in the nightlife activity is not
Yes.
as a result of the tax.
Okay.
It's as a result of the federal government policy of their claim to have removed subsidy. I say claim because in this country subsidy is still being paid.
Okay, so explain the nighttime transport control. What is it about? Do you know what it's about?
The transport control.
Yes, you know, by 9 p.m. you can't use public transports anymore. You know,
Oh,
that, yes, not being
I
able to move
understand. Yes,
around
that was
past 9.
what was
Yes.
done by the past government.
Yes.
And the present government have not seen any reason to reverse
it. Yes.
it.
What do you think that does for these people who are being taxed
No,
at this level
I
now?
don't understand what you are saying. Yes,
Mm.
that has contributed
Okay.
to the reduction of nightlife. Because if you don't have a car
Mhm.
and you must move out in the night,
Yes.
you must get home before 9 p.m.
Yes.
Otherwise, you trek or you take a taxi if you're
Yes.
buoyant.
Yes. And that's
So-
why I asked you that question, because I want to bring in this overtaxing that I am pondering right now. Because I'm thinking, you just mentioned that by 9 it shuts down. So that means that this person who is selling vegetables at Obwete, who gets to pay all these taxes because they have all now been implemented, right? She gets to pay them, and God forbid she has a crisis in her family past 9 p.m. Because that subsidization that I talked about in transportation that I expected that will be put in place is not in place. She's not worried about going to the hospital now, which is going to cost her an arm and a leg. But that's not the conundrum. The conundrum is getting to the hospital.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if the tax collected is also reflected back on the people. That is where I am going now. What is the tax agreement between the tax collector and the taxpayer?
Well, tax is an obligation.
An obligation.
Yeah, but tax also have to be very liberal.
What does that
Wearing
mean?
human face.
Okay.
That, like in Enugu presently, there are close to 20 heads of tax.
True.
And most of them are double taxation. Double taxation in the, for instance, VAT is charged by the federal government. In Enugu today, VAT is also charged. They also have what they call purchasing tax.
Mhm.
They also have what they call entertainment tax.
Oh, so you do know.
I mean.
So you do know.
Oh, sure.
Okay. So
I represent some people. So
okay.
I know.
Okay. Okay. So if we collect all of these taxes, I'm wondering, is there a part, is there something that they too who are collecting these taxes are supposed to do for us? Because I'm thinking, this woman, if she has a crisis, if the people who cannot move past 9 o'clock, because the only way you get to move around here past 9 is either you get the hailing cab, that is the Ubers and all that, or you are mobilized, like you can move around on your own. So I'm wondering, the lower class in Enugu, don't they have any need to be out past 9 o'clock for whatever reason? And isn't it enough for it to be considered? Or even if no one wants to see the tricycles at night, couldn't there be a subsidized? We've seen a governor in this state do it before. Subsidized cabs, where even to get the cab for high purchase from the government is easy to access, thereby regulated the price. There's a certain level you can't go above. And people were moving around in Enugu, and it was as classy as possible.
It was an enjoyable moment.
It was an enjoyable moment. And it didn't matter your class. It didn't matter where you were from.
It was affordable.
It was affordable. People could go, I remember in those days, people could go from Abani, they could go from Umbo, from wherever villages, they would get a cab and come to the mall here in the city,
Yes,
do
yes.
what they need to do, and the cabs will take them back to their various communities that they came from. So I realized that this is something that could happen. But in a situation whereby this tax is collected at this rate of efficiency, because it's efficiently being collected by this administration, I'm thinking, should the people expect something in return from all of this?
The people should expect something in return.
Good.
That is the job of the government,
Okay.
to give the people what should aid their living. Not dashing them money like the governor have done before. No.
We have seen that too.
But making the environment to be conducive for them to live and enjoy life, move about just like you said. However, you see, governments have priorities, and so far we have seen the priority of this government is infrastructural development.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And just over a year in office, I believe that someone who knows someone,
Okay.
who knows someone, who knows someone, who can talk to the governor,
Okay.
will do this advocacy.
Okay.
My understanding is that he's a listening governor,
Okay.
but he doesn't listen to jamboree.
Okay.
You have to have
Something.
place it on the table, discuss it, convince him, and he'll go.
Okay. He gets a lot of accolade for being super smart and super intelligent. From the way he is operating, one can see that as well. But let's take it back to the national now. The rule of law. Dele Farotimi has been arrested. In fact, from what we heard yesterday, he's been jailed at this point.
He's in prison.
He's in prison now. We have seen abuse of human rights, and we have seen the court summon certain members of governance, and they haven't come to answer to those calls. We've seen agencies put out calls for politicians to come and give an account of certain behaviors, and those politicians wouldn't show up. But we've seen journalists and certain members of society who make certain dispositions about how they feel about what's going on, and we've seen very swift action from the security forces. We've seen swift action from the courts. We've seen swift action taking place because he was arrested from Ekiti State. The team that came to arrest him in Lagos came from Ekiti State. And so you will see that swift move when not so important people are in the picture. Now, you know the rule of law in Nigeria. You understand all of its intricacies. Now, let us explain to us why we are experiencing this level of deterioration now. What's happening?
Well, Nigeria has been captured.
By whom?
By the government.
Our
The government,
government.
yes, and the government, I mean, even those not in corridors of power, but determine what happens. You
The,
know, in
the
Nigeria,
invisible powers.
the unseen hands, the unseen hands are there.
Okay.
Who, a phone call away, a good policy meant for the good of the people will be withdrawn just because of one man. Take, for instance, what is happening in the tax reform bill. Because the North is opposed. So Dele's case is also on the extreme. What has happened is an infringement on his fundamental rights. Because
Perpetrated by another very great lawyer.
it's not just because of the lawyer.
Okay.
The lawyer laid a complaint. He has a right
Okay.
to lay a complaint.
Great.
The police is the people that will say, no, this matter is civil. That's what police does. You lay a complaint that somebody has done this, is criminal. The police should know which one is a crime, which one is not a crime. They have the law. They have lawyers. And so, defamation in Lagos is not a crime, no matter who is defamed. So, it's a great infringement on his fundamental rights. And I can tell you, it's not just because of the book he wrote. It's because of what he has been saying. Telling truth to power. They don't want such people around.
But they just practicalized what was in the book in the first
But that is
place.
the point.
Because he said this thing, and it happened. Because it's happening now.
But that is
How do I talk about being fired and I get I get fired? It's not funny because these are my senior colleagues. These are people that we are looking out at, and we're watching the things they are doing because we believe that they are following the professionally. They are doing what they are supposed to do. Now, we live in a society where if you do that, you're more likely to get into trouble.
Well, that is true.
So where does that leave the protection of our rule of law as a nation? Where the honest people now get into trouble, it's like the people in power are trying to outdo themselves in their display of loyalty as to who gets to fight opposition the best.
Well, that is true.
That is true.
Well, that is
So
true.
what does that mean for our law generally in this country? Are we going to suspend it for a while?
It has been suspended.
Oh dear.
It has been suspended.
Oh.
Except for you and I. For the government, it is suspended when they like. It is brought back to life when they like, depending on what they want to do. So, the rule of law has been debased because it tells equality before the law.
What should
It
we
tells
do?
that sovereignty belongs to the people, not to the government.
Mm.
The government have taken the sovereignty. The people are crying. The government are hounding them. You can't demonstrate, you can't protest, you can't criticize, no matter how constructive.
So what do you call these in legal terms? What have we become now?
No, we're in total dictatorship.
We are
In total
dictatorship.
dictatorship.
So this is almost like
This
an end
tells the collapse of the rule
for
of
our
law.
democracy. Oh.
We don't have a democracy. What we have is a government of the few, by the few, for the few.
Okay. I would ask you just two simple questions, and I think that will just take us to the end of it. You can call into the studio if you want to join us this morning, 0706 048 5853. You can also call 0915 570 8347. I have with me Mr. Onyekachi Ede. He is the contact and mobilization person and for the subcommittee of the MBA Enugu State chapter. All right, and we are having all of these talks about the rule of law in Nigeria, and we're putting them together with the tax bills and the taxes, and we are trying to make sense of all of these things because the Nigerian problems are quite intertwined. You can't deal with one and avoid the other. So it's a general problem that we have as a nation, and they've all found a way to intertwine with each other, unfortunately. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Greetings.
Mm. I greet your guest. Barrister, good morning. Good
No,
morning.
he's greeting you.
Good morning.
Okay. And Barrister, what?
Barrister
Mr.
Mr.
Onyeka
Onyeka, he doesn't like to be called barrister.
Mr. Onyeka
Yes.
That's
Barrister
right.
at law.
Yes,
That's right.
thank you.
I got it. I got it.
You did.
See, Barrister, what comes in first? Is it arrest? Is it arrest, investigation, prosecution, or investigation, arrest, and prosecution? Which one comes first?
Investigation comes first, even in our law. But because of corruption, arrest comes first.
Why is it that our security agents will arrest, then start investigation before they prosecute?
First of all,
is it not going against the law?
it's a collapse of the system.
It's not a case of a bed at hand.
Yes.
So unfortunate.
Because
why is it that
policing has been commercialized in Nigeria.
Why is it that those who are meant to enforce the law are the ones breaking the laws?
That's why I say the system is collapsed.
If investigation comes in first before arrest, why is it that they are breaking the laws? Do you know, in some words, it will take up to 6 months, 1 year for you to get your full-scale investigation before you come out with arrest?
That is the reason that more than half of those in prisons around Nigeria are innocent of why they are there.
Okay, this guy now, police rush because somebody wrote a complaint. Have you investigated that complaint? You never investigate it. You rush and arrest him.
With a team from Ekiti.
Charge him to court.
Yeah, straight up.
Immediately, straight up. There's no even time for you to say, okay, I did this or I did not do that. There's conflict resolution in police.
That's even far from it. In the first place, what the police should return as a verdict in that case is that it is civil. There is no need for investigation. There is no need for arrest.
So it's even a civil matter.
It's a civil
but why is he in prison?
It's a civil matter.
Because that's what happens. The police, you will report, most of people in prison are there because of land cases, which police have no business with. There are some transactions that go on, sir, which police have no business with, but they will now term it obtaining by false pretenses.
Oh, okay.
If I'm a carpenter and you tell me to do a chair for you, and I have not done it, it's a breach of contract, but certainly not a crime. But the police will say it's obtaining by false pretenses. What is the pretense? That I'm not a carpenter, but I'm a carpenter.
Okay.
That makes
now
sense.
See, the worst of it now is those judges who sit on those cases. They are the worst of it because they have the right, they have the power to correct the error.
Yeah,
they also aid and abet those errors.
You remember when we talked about this on Monday, and we talked about the relationship between the judges and the politicians these days.
In fact, Mavis, I wonder, this guy couldn't have been arrested. These are two lawyers. You call them, you have the conflict. First of all, try if the other party insists on going to court, then you charge to court. There are room for conflict resolution. This is the same of the same. You don't take two families to court immediately without resolving trying to resolve the matter first. You should resolve this are family matter. I know that judiciary they are family. There are complaints, there are disciplinary rights you have. There are ways to seek redress. This guy is in bench. He's a member of the NBA. You first of all report there. Why should the judiciary bring themselves so low to be going to police for everything? There are ways to redress this thing. Go to the authorities that are responsible for that. Report the matter. Let him be investigated. If he did that, he has to apologize. If he didn't apologize, then the next party should go to court. There are ways to resolve these things. I'm not going to police to the. They are the lawyers are those making themselves fool in the hands of those police men. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you too. Afe Babalola, the man behind the arrest of Femi. But it's unbelievable that we're talking about this, especially at this time. But Barrister, why do you think that this harsh display of power drunkenness? Because what else could make them want Dele in there? Do they want to shut him down? Because now they are out looking out for every copy of the book he had written. They are looking for all the copies, and now they are causing a mass buy on the internet. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning. Am
You're-
I speaking to 104.3?
Yes, you are. You are. Welcome.
All right. My name is Christopher, calling you down from Abuja.
Welcome, Chris.
Oh, yeah. I call you a respectable person that call you and say that police do a mistake by arresting before investigation, which I want to be an opponent that I say the wrong statement. What
Okay.
if someone should stone something right now,
Mm-hmm.
for an example, then everyone there says this particular person stole this particular thing. Wait, is the person trying to tell me that I need to investigate before the suspect run away? The answer to that is you need to arrest the suspect first, put him in a place called caution before you went for investigation. Because no criminal will know that I am offended or I'm a mistake or I'm the person that is in fault with this crime. That will wait for you to finish the investigation before him. And some commit investigation, some commit crimes, later run away. So the police should take investigation first before they come to arrest the suspect will leave. And he said another thing. He said that that a lawyer did mistake, that they are fools to be in in the hands of a police. The answer there is wrong. A lawyer has their own pattern, police has their own pattern.
Okay.
Lawyers are to judge, not to arrest. If a court is being held, a lawyer is to stand in the place of defending, not sentencing someone. The man said something. There was what the man said. The man said that a lawyer is supposed to be the one to tell police that this particular thing is wrong. It's wrong. A lawyer, that is not the work of a lawyer. A lawyer is to defend, not to arrest. It is a police work to arrest, and it is a police work to know which one is wrong and which one is right. I don't know if you understand my word.
Yeah, but I do have a lawyer present in the house this morning.
Okay.
Yes, so I would like for him to clarify us all on the things you had just highlighted.
Well, we're using a case in point,
Mhm.
which is the case of Dele Faroti,
Farotimi.
against whom a complaint was laid to the police.
Yes.
The police ought to investigate the complaint, assuming that the complaint is a crime. But in this instance, the police have no business whatsoever even inviting him, not to talk of arresting him.
He's not even supposed to be invited.
He is not supposed to be invited. Even inviting him is infringing on his rights. Except you have alleged another crime. But if it's for defamation, it's not a crime in Lagos State.
Do you understand?
And so, sorry, just hold on, just hold on. And in our laws, the process of policing is to investigate before arrest, except when somebody is arrested at the scene of crime.
Arrested at
Because
the
you
scene
will
of
see
crime.
somebody committing crime and you leave the person. You want to investigate whether the person is committing the crime. No. That's the only
Hello,
exception.
sir.
That's the only
Hello.
exception.
Okay, let
Hello.
him, he has a question for you. Go ahead.
Hello, sir.
I'm with you.
I'm one of the civils. I'm one of the policemen. I'm talking right now.
You're welcome.
Um,
You're welcome.
uh,
But, okay, we
what
really
is,
have to hurry. Just, you have 30 seconds. Let's go.
hello.
Why with you?
Yeah. Okay. What of if a report was given to a policeman when the policeman was not there, or he was not there presently when the problem happened, and based on what the people are saying, the fault comes from the suspect. But will the police leave the suspect and went for investigation first, or will take the suspect to the police station before investigation?
No, you don't take
I
a
just want to.
suspect to the police station before investigation. You
That
investigate,
means
and when you have
you
found
arrest
that
before
a prima
investigation.
facie case, that's when you arrest. In our law, the presumption of innocence inures in favor of somebody who is accused of any crime. He is innocent unless and until declared guilty.
Um, Sir,
All right,
I
officer.
understand.
Officer, I
I
have to
understand
let you
you.
go.
I
I have
understand
to
where
let
you're
you go
going.
now. This is the end of the program. It happens every Monday through Fridays, okay? It comes on 9 a.m. till 10. Today, the phone lines opened quite late. Apologies for that, but you can join us again tomorrow morning. Let's analyze Nigeria, see how we can help fix our own problems. All right, thank you everyone who tried to reach out this morning. Mr. Onyekachi Ede, it's always a pleasure to have you in the building. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming. My name is Mavis Atudume. Please, when you're out there today, be a good person so that all of us can benefit from that. Okay? Have a good morning.